All right, welcome. This is DB Talking Now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles. This is the post game of the Arizona Cardinals versus the Philadelphia Eagles game today that we just kind of wrapped up. So I just got to put out there, you know, it was absolutely a phenomenal game. The Arizona Cardinals did defeat the Eagles today, 33-26. However, it was a great game all the way throughout. Jalen Hurts was absolutely phenomenal, did everything and then some, and even more so in this game today. So he did a great job of providing us with a phenomenal encore, to be completely honest with you. Let me just go over a few things here. Jalen Hurts, he had 4 touchdowns today, 3 passing, and 1 on the ground. He had about 63 rushing yards on 11 attempts. And then also on top of that, Jalen Hurts threw for 338 yards and 3 touchdowns. Absolutely torched this Arizona Cardinals defense, and did a great job of spreading the ball around. That's one of the things I want to say. Zach Ertz made some great plays. Alshon Jeffrey really surprised me today. I gotta say that. Alshon Jeffrey really surprised me today. Alshon Jeffrey looked good. So I gotta put that out there as well. And he forced a couple. He drew a couple of pass interference flags on Patrick Peterson, so that was awesome to see. I'm not going to go out and say Alshon Jeffrey played great, but he definitely did a great job of helping us in this game. So he definitely played a huge role in keeping us in this game and played really well. Early in the game, I was really impressed with the way that cornerback Michael Jaquette III played, who was filling in for I'm not sure if he was filling in for Avonte Maddox or if he was filling in for Darius Slay, but I thought he played really well in the beginning of this game. Obviously on Devontae Hopkins' first target, which was a catch. Michael Jaquette did force a fumble there, and then we did get the ball back, and that was on the Arizona Cardinals' first drive. And so that first drive that they had, Kyler Murray threw for about 4. It was like 4 passes, 3 for 4 for about 58 yards. And so that first drive was kind of indicative of what type of game it was going to be. And man, was that foreshadowing to its utmost, because that is exactly what today's game turned into. The Arizona Cardinals took a 16-0 lead, and then Jalen Hurts kind of followed it up with what we were expecting him to do. And kind of not necessarily what we were expecting him to do, but what we definitely wanted him to do, which he penned today. Jalen Hurts just penned a beautiful encore performance. Now, he had the opportunity later in the game to really cap it off with a legendary opportunity and bringing this team back, and winning the game. And that's kind of how it was. We weren't able to get the job done, but Jalen Hurts did everything and then some. So the fault does not fall on Jalen Hurts today at all. The fault is solely on the defense. I will say this, though, in defense of the defense, 2 of those, we were able to force 2 turnovers today, and neither one of those turnovers the Eagles were able to capitalize. The offense was not able to capitalize on either one of those turnovers. There were a couple 3 and outs here and there that we just weren't able to we weren't able to capitalize either. And those 3 and outs were in key situations. We weren't able to capitalize right off the bat of those either. So those were a couple things to look at. But all in all, I mean, when your offense scores 26 points, you should win. You should win that game. Jalen Hurts was absolutely phenomenal. I feel like the play calling, for the most part, was pretty good. I would say early on in the game when we got ourselves into a couple 3rd and 1s, I did not like the fact that Doug usually with those 3rd and 1s that we didn't convert, it was like 3 or 4 runs in a row, and I just didn't like those play calls in those moments, because each one of them, there was a couple of them that were like that, where and they just got stuffed each time on 3rd and 1. Another thing that I want to address, and this is kind of one of the things during my live stream of the game, I was passionate about this because I've been passionate about it all season, and since we drafted this young man, Watkins, Quez, really got a significant amount of playing time today and showed out. He absolutely balled out. His first touchdown of his young career was an absolute beauty. It was a screen, 38 yards out. I think it was 4th down, actually. I actually think it was 4th down, and on that wide receiver screen, he found himself into some traffic behind the line of scrimmage, and then spun out of it, and then raced down into the end zone for about 30 some odd yards, and it was absolutely beautiful. And then Quez Watkins continued to find himself in open situations and caught and had a pretty decent game. As far as receiving the most playing time that he's had so far this season. So he played really, really well. Again, I don't understand what was going on with this coaching staff when they decided not to play him early on. If anything, whenever he's on the field, he probably is the fastest wide receiver that we have. So there is that. Jalen Reagor had another decent game. So that was good to see. The running plays being called with Jalen Reagor, however, was an absolute disaster. The Cardinals were all over it. From the very get-go. So that obviously was not something that was going to fly with the Cardinals defense today, and that showed. But Alshon Jeffrey, Quez Watkins, Jalen Reagor had a great game. Zach Ertz had a great game. I mean, he had a decent game. He had 2 catches for about 60 yards, 60 some odd yards. And then Greg Ward continued to show up in the clutch on 3rd down, and he himself had a great game. The wide receiver group as a whole had a wonderful game. Greg Ward recorded 2 touchdowns today, out of the 3 that Jalen Reagor threw, or that Jalen Hurts threw for. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, today's loss solely falls on the defense. And as I said during my live stream, I think that Darius Slay was probably the difference in this game. But Jalen Hurts was so phenomenal. It really does. It really does sway my opinion about this entire quarterback situation. As I've said before, I'm a huge Carson supporter. I have a lot of faith in Carson Wentz, but after seeing Jalen Hurts today and what he can do and the potential of what he can do, this is going to be a tough one. And I'm sure that I'll have some more insight, throughout the week as I continue to think about it, because I have a buddy that I talk with who's from New York. And so he's a Jets fan, and obviously the Jets aren't doing well, but he lives here in Arizona with me. We were talking about it all week is what is a good archetype for Jalen Hurts? Who can we compare him to? And we were talking about Kyler, and we were talking about Deshaun Watson, and we were talking about Lamar, and we were talking about Russ. Honestly, I said it from day one. when Jalen Hurts took over for Carson against the Packers. I'm not jumping the gun here, and I'm certainly not trying to. All I'm saying is that I see a ton of similarities in Jalen Hurts' game that are similar to Russell Wilson. The way that he moves, in and out of the pocket, the way that he launches the ball on the run. Just it's different from Lamar. It's different from Deshaun. It's definitely different from Kyler. Kyler's kind of different from any of those guys. I wouldn't compare Kyler Murray to Lamar Jackson or Russell Wilson or any of those guys. I think Kyler is kind of in his own little league because of his size and because of his quickness and because of his arm. He really has a rocket, and I would say it's because of his ability. It's because of that baseball background, probably. I would say, he's got the agility of a shortstop, on in baseball. So, Kyler's just in a different. But we were talking about Dak, and then I completely forgot about Dak. Obviously, because I'm an Eagles fan and I don't really like thinking about the Cowboys ever. But I do. I see similarities. I see similarities between Jalen and Dak, but I think Jalen, just after seeing him over the last 10 quarters of football, I feel like the ceiling is higher. I feel like the ceiling is definitely higher for Jalen Hurts than it is Dak Prescott. I feel like Dak Prescott's kind of reached his ceiling and just has great talent around him. Whereas Jalen Hurts, just is going to continue to get better. And, or at least that's my hope. Miles Sanders had a pretty decent day, not a horrible day, decent day. Certainly not as big as last week. He had about 17 carries for 65 yards. And so it was good to see. It was good to see Doug kind of stick with the run game. I wish that we diversified our run game a little bit more. Those 3rd and 1s, and those 3rd and shorts that we didn't convert. We all love Miles Sanders. I'm very well aware of that. But we have Jordan Howard on this roster. He's a power runner. You don't have to do it all the time, but just diversify your run game a little bit with the power runner, especially in the 4th quarter, because power runners, they will wear the defense down. And that's just what I think was needed in that moment. I mean, Jalen Hurts had a perfect opportunity to go down there and tie the game, and it looked like he was going to, but we ran out of time. We ran out of time there, and unfortunately, we had to heave it up. We had to heave it up about 2 times or 3 times in a row, and it just came up incomplete. Because let me just say this: the Cardinals defense is they have some great players on that defense, and they should be good, a great defense week in, week out. The defensive line is no joke. Their secondary is no joke. They've got a great group of linebackers in Devondre Campbell and Isaiah Simmons and Banjo, and or Banjo might be their safety. I don't really know. He's playing the banjo. He's busy playing the banjo. He doesn't know what position he is. No, I'm kidding. And then they got Budda Baker back there. So those guys, I mean, they have a good cast of players on that defense. And obviously today's game just came down to kind of what we all said going into today's game, which is the Cardinals' firepower on offense is just going to be too overwhelming for this banged up Eagles secondary. But the truth of the matter was it wasn't too much for us to win this game. It wasn't too much for us to win this game. And that was because of pretty much the heroics of Jalen Hurts, and the diversity of the play calling. And I really think that I'm not upset with the fact that the play calling looks so much more diverse with Jalen Hurts in the game as opposed to Carson Wentz now, because Jalen Hurts does offer the ability to be more diverse in your offensive scheme. He just does. And we were seeing spread concept. We were seeing more spread concepts today. More QB runs, designed runs, and everything like that. More rollouts because Jalen Hurts can do it. Because Jalen Hurts can do it successfully. Even if Carson didn't gain the 13 to 15 pounds of muscle or whatever it was, he still wasn't as agile as Jalen. And so it does offer quite a different look. And right now the Eagles are doing a successful job of putting that type of offense that a Jalen Hurts type of quarterback would require together. They're doing it. They're putting it success. They're doing it successfully. These last two games, the Eagles offense hasn't looked as successful prior to these last two games in quite a while, probably since 2017. We saw a rejuvenated Alshon Jeffrey out there today. We were seeing an offense that's moving faster, that's moving with more energy. Quez Watkins is now involved, and I don't know how you take him off the field. I swear, if they take him off the field at any point for the rest of the season, I am going to be completely upset and completely livid, because after today's game, seeing what Quez Watkins can do, there's no reason to take him off the field. None whatsoever. And I kind of brought this up earlier today. Even Travis Fulgham got involved. Today and had a huge fourth down conversion. And I think a huge third down conversion as well. And I mentioned this today. Yeah, it's okay to start sprinkling him in now. I mentioned this today. I had a conversation with someone throughout the week, a long conversation. And my theory was that because Travis Fulgham was performing the way that he was performing and producing the way that he was producing earlier in the season, financially, financially, the Eagles made a decision. And honestly, it was probably Howie Roseman, because it sounds like something Howie Roseman would do, where Travis Fulgham is on a 1-year deal, and so you take the guy out of the lineup so that at the end of the season, it doesn't look as great, so that he can't demand more money than he would have if you didn't play him. And so that's what I think. That's my theory. That's what I think is going on. So that way, the Eagles can bring Travis Fulgham back on a cheaper deal, and not something more extraordinarily expensive had he continued producing the way that he was producing earlier in the season. Because in 4 games, he had the most yards out of any receiver in the league, and he had the most catches out of any receiver in the league, and he was also leading all receivers in touchdowns in 4 games during that 4-week span. So, so they probably had to hamper his production a bit. So it wouldn't. I mean, it's corrupt. It sounds a little corrupt and messed up, but yeah. I'm upset that we lost, but I'm not at the same time. I wasn't expecting to win this game, but I was hoping for a great encore performance from Jalen Hurts, and that's exactly what we got. And I hope it continues. Crazy thing is, the Redskins did lose today to the Seahawks. The Eagles are still in it. The Eagles are still in the playoff hunt because of that fact. It's not as, if the Eagles had won today, the Eagles would have controlled their own destiny, and the ability to get themselves back into first place. But because both teams lost, the Eagles don't quite control their own destiny yet, and they are still in it. We just need the Redskins to lose out. So the Redskins have to lose next week as well. The defense was so bad today. We gave up. Hold on a second. 406 passing yards, which is a career high for Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray had 406 passing yards and 3 touchdowns and 1 interception, who was picked off by Marcus Epps. Crazy thing, I called that interception, and I also called the fake punt as well. Not trying to take credit, but I thought it was pretty cool that I called both of them. So we pretty much shut down this run game, which is what I was expecting. The Eagles have done good against running quarterbacks on the ground. We've done good with that pretty much all season long. I don't really count, what Daniel Jones did to us, because that was one option play where he took it 80 yards. But no, the defense played really. The defense, for the most part, they were a flash in the pan today. The defense. I continue to be impressed by Alex Singleton, linebacker Alex Singleton, and so I want him to stay. I want him to, depending upon what we do, if we do something at that position in the offseason, I want him to actually. I want him to have the ability to battle it out at least. And with John Dorsey now consulting, I expect him to take over personnel, as I said in my live stream. So I expect them to do something in regards of adding pieces to this defense, because that is what's needed. Unfortunately, there's just not enough playmakers on the Eagles defense. There's just not enough playmakers. Who was the last guy other than Fletcher Cox to make a Pro Bowl on this defense? And Malcolm Jenkins, who's gone now. I can't list the last one, and I don't count Darius Slay, because those times that he went to the Pro Bowl, he was on the Lions, so he's not going to go to the Pro Bowl this year. Darius Slay is not having his best year with us, and that's unfortunate. So, going forward, I expect bigger things. That's what I expect. But it's hard to look past the fact that Jalen Hurts is only 22 years old. He looked phenomenal last week. He looked phenomenal today. And if the Eagles wanted to reset, I mean, he's the perfect guy to do it with, because Carson's turning 28 and Jalen Hurts is 22, and Jalen Hurts looks good. Jalen Hurts looks really good. And so that's kind of one of those things that we're going to have to keep our eye on it. I think that the absence of rookie right tackle Jack Driscoll was big today. Jalen Hurts was sacked at least like 3 or 4 times. I don't have that exact number off the top of my head, but yeah, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Jalen Hurts was sacked 6 times today. This young guy that the Cardinals have, Dennis Gardeck, is really good. Really good. And so he accounted for 2 sacks. Hassan Reddick had another sack today, and so he's starting to come on as well. especially after last week where he got 5 sacks against the Giants. Cornerback safety Byron Murphy had a sack as well. So did Zach Allen, defensive tackle Zach Allen. So, the defense, the Cardinals defense got after today, as was expected, as what I talked about in my stream leading into this game. So, Cardinals bring heavier blitzes than the Saints did, and so that's one of the things that I talked about coming into this game, and that's exactly what they did. But I am not that unhappy. I'm absolutely impressed with Jalen Hurts' performance. I'm impressed with the offense's performance as a whole. I wish that we were able to get it going earlier in the first quarter. But we scored what was it, 20 points in the third? 20 points in the it was 20 points in the second quarter because it was 26-20 going into the half. That's another thing too. We got the ball to start the third quarter, and we just did not capitalize on that first drive out of the second half. So that's another thing too. And we continue to shoot ourselves in the foot. Thank God that Jalen Hurts was able to get us out of that drive where we went down and tied it at 26-26, because Zach Ertz dropped the snap on the extra point, which I can't even fully blame on Zach Ertz because the snap was low. But yeah, that drive where we continue to shoot ourselves in the foot was the same exact drive that we tied it up, and we had like 4 penalties in a row or something like that. Or Jalen Hurts took a sack and there was 2 penalties, and then but then we were able to, we threw it to Jalen Reagor, and he took it for about 18 yards. It was a pretty good, and then we were able to get out of it. So, but those are the things that you just can't do. And even the defense, we had some earlier on in the game, Derek Barnett had a roughing, had an intense, like an unnecessary roughness penalty that was on third down. And he was stopped short on third down, and DeAndre Hopkins, and then it just became 1st and 10. And so there was things like that happened earlier on in the game, and just a lot of penalties all throughout. So it was just too much. But key takeaways obviously is get Quez Watkins the ball. I'm actually more excited about getting him the ball than I am Jalen Reagor, because I just haven't seen a lot of game breaking moves by Jalen Reagor. Today we saw a lot of game breaking moves by Quez Watkins, like that screen that he took for 34 yards for a touchdown, and there was just he just offers a different element. His speed just brings a different element, and I think that's what we'll need going forward. But I'm really excited with this offense going forward. I think we have a lot to look to. We're still in it, so there's always a shot. There's always a chance. There's still a chance for Jalen Hurts to take this team to the playoffs. So this is DB Talking now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles. This was your post-game review for the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Arizona Cardinals game, where the Arizona Cardinals did win 33-26 in a nail-biter till the end. Thank you guys for joining me. You guys have a beautiful rest of your Sunday. Stay safe, stay healthy. Go Birds, baby.